So if you guys are here, you definitely want to know more about Dockercompose, and in this video exactly we're going to cover that. In this video I'm planning to show how can we create a Dockercompose file which includes two different projects, that is .NET and Angular, and run them in a single step. Let's quickly go over the project structure. So the project structure contains two apps, that is API and the demo app. The API is nothing but the .NET Core app, and the demo app is nothing but the Angular app. So the API contains the Docker file. If you want to see how this Docker file is created, I've already covered it in my previous video in a step-by-step manner. There is also a Dockercompose file for the API so that we can quickly bring up the containers or bring down the containers. Let's see it working. So right click on it and do Dockercompose up. Okay, looks to be like it's up. Okay, once we refresh the browser, it loads. So let's bring it down and we'll verify the same for the Angular app. Here also there is a Docker file. If you want to understand how to create this Dockercompose file, I've already covered in my previous videos. Okay, so it also contains a Dockercompose file. So again, let's start the Dockercompose. So Dockercompose up. It takes some time, but it will load pretty fast. So last time let's check whether Angular is up or not. Yeah, Angular is up and .NET has been stopped. So now let's make our API also up. So now we have a situation when both of our services are up. We'll just verify whether both of them are up or not. So the .NET API is up, the Angular is up. Whenever we are working in a live project, we'll be having multiple microservice projects. It might not just be one or two. And for example, you have started all the containers and then you are going to stop one by one. So I've removed one of the containers. This process has to be done by opening each and every folder and doing Dockercompose down. It becomes pretty hectic. Let's agree to it. And once we go and verify, we'll realize, okay, one of the projects didn't get stopped. Yeah, because it becomes difficult to manage. When we have one or two microservices, it still makes sense. But if we have 100 microservices, it's literally impossible. So I'll be now stopping the proper services so that we verify, okay, both of our services are down. Okay. So Angular is down, .NET is down, both of our services are down. Now we need to find out a way how can we create a single unified Dockercompose file so that it can help us in bringing up all the microservice projects, bringing down all the microservice project in a single time. Before going forward, welcome to our channel Techno Savior. Now it's time to create the Dockercompose file. So let's create the Dockercompose file by adding the services. So services are the .NET ASP.NET service. So we'll give it a image name and we'll give the build context. Build context is nothing but the folder where your Dockercompose file resides. So now we'll mention the Docker file name, that is ./Dockerfile, because it's residing in the current folder, and we'll give it a port, like what is the port that we want it to be exposed inside our container. Second comes the Angular service. So again we have to give a name. The name can be anything. So we'll give the name as Angular and we'll give the build. In build we'll have the context. The context is a folder where your project resides, that is the demo/app. Now we'll mention the Dockerfile location. Similarly, here also we'll be exposing a port. Internally Angular will be using port 80 in the Docker container, but outside we'll be exposing it as 4200. So our Dockercompose file is done. We can click on select services and start it individually. But for this example, we want to start all the services at once. As soon as we select the Dockercompose up, it will download the necessary images and it will start all the services. If you see, it has created an internal network and started the two services. So let's quickly go back to our browser and verify whether the two services are actually up or not. So now let's verify the Angular and verify the .NET. So in a single shot, both of our services are up. It is 2 over here, but it can be hundreds in a single file. And we can also take down the containers with just one click. Dockercompose down. So the Angular went down and the .NET is also down. So this is how we can quickly combine all the Docker projects into a single compose file and get up with our microservice project up and running in no time. So this is how we can create any Dockercompose file with multiple services in a project and get them up and running with just one file. Hopefully you like this video. For more such videos, subscribe to our channel Techno Savior. Thank you.